Talia Landman is a talkative, petite 30-year-old social media manager and ultra-runner who had the misfortune of moving into a Venice apartment house next to an alley frequented by a violent man with a long record of arrests. She and her lab mix, Juno, loved the balcony of their second-floor studio and would relax there in the sun, especially after the pandemic hit and everyone was stuck at home. The balcony overlooks the alley, which, until he was arrested in August, was the makeshift home of David Fern Kroll, 36, who is listed in legal documents as 6'5" and 220 pounds. Venice is a part of town where people in homes often coexist peacefully with those who are homeless. "We have a lot of empathy and sympathy for people who've lost their homes," said Landman, but to call this man homeless and to group him in with that population is an insult to them. Indeed, many neighbors say they were intimidated by Kroll, but Landman had it the worst. At first, it was the fights Landman says she witnessed between Kroll and others who frequented the alley. "I would go out there and see this guy, yelling about wanting to punch a woman in the face, beat her," she said. A woman would come by and they would get in massive fights. He would have these spirals, throwing things, breaking things, yelling. I was like, is this normal? Why is no one doing anything? When she complained to her landlord, she said, he told her to close her windows and hide. "I paid $2,000 to live in a box," she told me. But she did what she could to avoid Kroll. And she kept detailed notes about every interaction with him and police, who were frequently called. Usually Kroll was gone by the time police arrived. Sometimes they would tell him to leave the alley. Sometimes they would arrest him. He always came back. Then, in May, Landman and others say, Kroll began focusing his anger in earnest on Landman. Landman says he threw rocks at her while she was on her balcony, screamed obscenities and threatened to rape or kill her when she called police. And she was not the only neighbor who reported harassment. Julia Winter, who owns a triplex on Melrose Avenue, across the alley from Landman's apartment, says Kroll followed her on his bike, yelling and pointing his phone at her like a gun. One of Winter's tenants, a young mother taking her baby out of the car, was caught in a crossfire of Kroll's rock throwing, Winter said. Neighbors say they also saw Kroll accost customers and threaten the owner of a smoke shop on Lincoln Boulevard. At least two of Landman's neighbors moved out because of Kroll. One neighbor, John Letty, 62, became so concerned about the safety of his family that he helped organize a neighborhood watch. Police from Pacific Division, a representative from Councilman Mike Bonin's office and a city prosecutor attended their meetings. "As a community," Letty told me, "we did this the right way. We were not calling police about the occasional unruly homeless encampment.